Hi, my light is a little bit turned down. I'm hoping that it shows the palettes a little bit better. So today is a palette collection video. This is not a declutter. There are going to be a few that I think I'm probably going to get rid of, but not a lot. I declutter throughout the year. I don't really do declutter videos anymore. I do collection videos, not declutter videos. I just I'm not I'm not going to keep something and store it so I can do a declutter and be like, look at all this stuff I'm getting rid of. It doesn't feel right to me anymore. It feels just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me, okay? I used to have 200 palettes. I have shrunk my collection down to less than 100. I don't know how many I have. I know it's less than 100. I, that is still way too many. But I do really love the palettes that I have. And I've been just really buying less and using more and getting rid of what I really don't love. So that's where I'm at. The first palettes I'm going to show you are the ones that are currently on my desk for use. I like to put like several on my desk and like use them for a month and then switch them out, just so like if I don't know what I want to do in the morning, I will just grab something that's on my desk and then I'll just create something with what's on my desk instead of looking for a palette and like feeling overwhelmed. I feel like that helps a lot, but it also has been helping me really use some of my palettes and just get to know them really well. So after I show you these, I will show you all of the rest of my palettes, and they'll be in like alphabetical order by brand. So let's just get into this video. Long intro, I know. So I know I said that this isn't a declutter video, but I am going to get rid of this palette. It's been on my desk and I've been using it quite some time. This is the Delicious Delights by Cosmic Brushes. I don't love this palette. I have so many feelings about it, especially like trying to get rid of it and just my thoughts. I've used every shade in this palette and I don't love this color story. The formula is good. I don't enjoy these two shimmers very much. They're very kind of chunky, kind of basic, not great in my opinion. But then you have this multi-chrome over here that I absolutely love, but it's a very basic multi-chrome, right? Pink to green. And the other thing that, oh, I love this shimmer in this one too, but this color story just isn't for me. I can with the purples and the blues, basically. I can't create a look that I love just using this palette. It's not deep enough, and I also don't understand this orange. It doesn't make any sense to me in this palette. It's like an orange brown, and I don't get it. I like it on its own. I've used it in like combining it with other palettes, but it just doesn't make sense in here. Like, in my opinion, maybe that's just my mind. I don't know, but it doesn't go deep enough. There's a couple of shimmers I don't really care for. The shimmers I do like, I have in other palettes. Like they're not, special. So I'm gonna get rid of this. That's crazy because I know everybody loves this brand, and I do have two other palettes by them, and I do love them. My daughter's putting away dishes. You can probably hear that. Sorry. But yeah, it's gotta go. I used it. I used every shadow. I used it more than once. And as I have these colors elsewhere, and the color story alone just the color story alone isn't enough for me. So it feels kind of hard because I did just get that not too long ago, a few months ago. And it's like one of those like, but everybody else loves it. I should, but I'm gonna let it go because I don't love it. It's the mattes are a good formula and stuff. It's just not. I don't know. Anyways, you heard me. Moving on. I have the Don't Be a Jelly from Unearthly on my desk right now. This came from Andy Does Stuff because she spoils me. This palette is so beautiful. I love the color story. I love the shimmers. I adore this palette, and it's fairly new in my collection. It needs to be used more. So I have it pulled out to use it. I love jellyfish. I love the ocean. Yeah, it's stunning. This one is a fairly new palette to me, and this is the Machina Blend Bunny palette. It looks like this. I haven't used it a lot. I have used all of these and all of these and the black, but I haven't used any of those. So that's why it's out, because I want to use it and get to know it. I literally bought this palette for these two rows. And I will tell you, the reds in here do not disappoint. These two, I love them so much. I do wish that there was more, like this is more of a pink, peachy, kind of shifts a little yellowish almost shimmer. I do wish it was like a red shimmer instead of like a pinky gold shimmer to go with the reds. But these two reds are, I love them so much. This is so neon and so like fire engine red. It's amazing. So I'm excited to get to know this palette more. This row is not going to be my favorite, to be quite frank. I don't do a lot of gray looks, and I have other Blend Money palettes with grays in them, so I kind of wish that she would just kind of stop putting more and more grays in her palettes. Like a gray and black row is not necessary, and multiple palettes, in my opinion, don't come for me. But yeah, I love this palette. And I am just talking so much. I don't know, you guys. Maybe I shouldn't be talking so much because I have a lot of palettes. I have the Kaleidos Flower Punk. I love this palette. I've used it quite a bit, and the shimmers are stunning. I love, greens. I love the pinks and mints. I love this palette. So I'm excited to have it out on my desk to use more. I brought out the Melt 27. I got this on sale. I think they're discontinuing it, so I went ahead and bought it. I do love warm looks. I prefer warm colored shadows over cool toned shadows, especially like cool toned purples. I prefer the warm toned purples, but just in general, I like warm tones. And I think that this is a very beautiful palette. I've used it like I think 3 times. It's fairly new in my collection. And so I pulled it out because I really want to get to know it and love it. But these mattes are a little bit different, I feel like, from Melt, and they're very soft and blendable. I pulled out the Electric Trip palette from Melt because this screams summer to me. I'm wearing it today. I am. This is what it looks like. I got this from a Busy Beauty box, and it is a stunning palette. I've used it a crap ton. It's not showing as much use as I've used it. I mean, I've used it a lot, particularly these shades. I love them. I do love these too, but for whatever reason, I gravitate towards this end of the palette more. But I do enjoy, like, I love greens, you guys, and blues. So I do enjoy this side too, but this is where it's at for me in this palette. And yeah, I love the packaging. I have in this a palette that I got in the Odin's Eye mystery box that Kristen Beauty Beat Down here on YouTube sent to me. She bought a mystery box and had it shipped to me, which is wild, and I love it. That was really kind of her. So this is the little ghost palette, and the mystery box thing happened not too long ago, so it's fairly new in my collection. So I pulled it out because I do think that I can make some like really pretty purple, yellow, and orange looks for summer, and blue and orange too. I think that this is really pretty. I can't speak too much on the formula. I've only used a couple of the shades in this palette so far, so we'll see. I really like the creepy pumpkins. Now we're moving on to the stuff that is not on my, oh, I have one more on my desk. I have the Nightmare on Elm Street Never Sleep Again palette from Glamlight. I don't love this palette, but I do love it. Like, I don't love this formula from Glamlight. I don't think it's their best formula, but I do really like the reds and the silver shimmer. When I mean reds, I mean this red. I have a lot of feelings about this palette. It's not their best formula. I'm not in love with it, but I'm in love with the theme. I'm trying to get more use out of it and just kind of really build my thoughts up and get my money's worth. So maybe potentially declutter in the future. We'll see. But that one is also out. Okay, now we're moving on to alphabetical order palettes in my collection. We're starting off with Ace Beauty, which apparently they're rebranding. I'm so curious as to what's going to happen. So this is the Tropical Vibes that was sent to me from Andy Does Stuff, because she spoils me, and I love this palette so much. It is amazing. The shimmers are stunning. I love this color story. I'm almost gonna hit pan in that shade. And maybe even this one is really close too. But this one, like, it's not showing up on camera, but I can see the grate in it. So you can see that I've used this palette a lot, and I adore it and love it, and it's stunning. I have the Oceanic palette by Ace Beauty, and I love this palette and don't love it. I love this color story, but the formula in this isn't as good anymore. I think it's because it is aged, honestly, but I'm going to keep it around because I do really enjoy this palette, and I also like to pair these two together. I have the Ace Beauty and Nostalgia palette. This came from Andy Does Stuff. I had one that molded, and hers just molded actually, and CC's has molded, and I've seen other creators that have had theirs mold. However, I mean, palettes age and things are gonna go bad, whether we like to admit that or not. But anyways, I think that this one in particular, there's just a problem with the way it was stored from like BoxyCharm or something. But this one is currently in good shape, and I love this palette. It is such an amazing summer palette. It is stunning. It is beautiful. It is bright. It can go deep. I love it. I love it so much. I love the oranges in this palette. I love it. This one also came from Andy Does Stuff. That'll be a theme as we go through my palettes. This is the Classical Paradise, and I think that I want to buy one from Ace Beauty, another one. They have one for $15 right now with the new formula. It's not about the new formula, it's about the fact that I am going to hit pan in this one, and this one very soon. I love this. This is my Apples palette, and it is just one of my favorite palettes. I love the way that this makes me feel when I look at it. I just see pumpkin patches and apple cider and fall and beautiful orange leaf trees and just apple picking. It just reminds me of fall so much, and I love it. So this one also came from Andy Does Stuff, and this is the Ace Beauty Violet Sage. Now, a lot of people hated this palette. I think the formula is fine. I don't think it's their new formula, based off of the shimmers, mostly, because they're not like the new ones. But a lot of people complained about like things murking out and problems like that, and it's like, yeah, because you can't, these tones, they don't align, so you need to kind of know your color theory just a little bit. But you guys, I think this is going to be the first palette that Andy's ever sent me that I'm going to declutter. I really like this palette. I like these purples especially. This one, it's really grapey. Like, it's a very grape color in my opinion. But I have all of these colors in my collection and other palettes. And just because I love Ace Beauty and just because I love Andy, I've kept this. I do enjoy it. Like, I don't have a problem with it. But when I reach for purples, I tend to reach for other things. When I reach for greens and pinks, I tend to reach for other things. The shimmers in here are nothing to, they're just good basic shimmers. So I actually think that I'm going to get rid of this palette. Yeah, I'm going to set it aside, and with the potential of pulling it back in. I don't think that's going to happen, but I have the Beauty Bay Age of Opulence that came from Andy Does Stuff, and I love this palette. As you can see, I've used the crap out of it. I mean, I don't know if you can really see. I don't feel like this actually gives you a good idea of how much I've used this palette. Like, I just don't think it shows very well. But I've used the crap out of it. I love it. That's all I'm going to say about that. This one came from Andy Does Stuff as well. This is the Retro Love. This is what it looks like. I think these shimmers are stunning. I enjoy the pinks over here, and the blues and the purples. This yellow kind of throws me off a little bit, but I enjoy this palette. So, okay, you guys, this is the Book of Magic. So you can see mine is like, it's the coloring on it is like faded. It's losing, like, you can't see it as well. I've used this palette so much. I have loved this palette so much. I have, I think I have 2 pans in it, but maybe just one. I really liked this shade a lot. But you guys, it's so old, and I don't find myself reaching for it anymore. It's really old. Let me swatch this shade. It is pretty. It's a pretty shade. But I don't think that I'm gonna keep it. I think it's time to let it go. I have these blues other places. I have these purples and browns other places. It's an older palette. and the formula is just not as good as it once was. Plus, my cover really bothers me. It's like faded and like just it's dying. So I think I'm gonna get rid of it. This is another one that I'm gonna like put aside and like think about it more and more, but I don't think that I need it anymore. I have the Beauty Bay Fantasy palette, and this is what it looks like. Okay, I had this in a No Pan Left Behind. I do have a pan in it. It's here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, I wasn't a huge fan of this palette, and then I used it for like a No Pan Left Behind, and I kind of ended up really liking the looks that I created and just the whole thing that I did. When I look at it, I'm like, meh. But then when I use it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I see. So I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. I think I'm talking too slow to get through all these. Maybe you guys don't want to hear me talk. I don't know. But I have the Be Perfect Carnival, the Antidote palette that came from Makeup by POW. And I can't believe she sent this to me. I was so ecstatic. And I love this palette. It is everything you need for a fall palette, right? Like, it's everything. It is stunning. I love it. I have used the crap out of it. I have used every shade in this palette. I just adore it. It is my favorite palette, one of my favorite palettes of all time. This and the Ace Beauty Classical Paradise kind of have the same vibes, and I love both of them so much. And you can see like why, right? They're very similar in vibes. One's just more small. Just ignore me. Anyways, I love this palette so much. This formula in here is like amazing, by the way. It's so good. I have the Interstellar Be Perfect palette, and it looks like this. I don't love this one as much as I thought I would. I said it. I do have Pan here in the Mercury shade. I love the shimmers in this. These shimmers are baller. They're so shimmery. These are like your basic metallic shimmers, like normal. These are like elevated. They're shimmery and glittery, and I love the shimmers in this palette. And it's a good palette. I mean, the color story is nice, and I enjoy like this area here a lot. I thought I was going to love this area more, but I have figured out that like I want to love grays, but I just don't love them as much. I do love a gray smoky eye sometimes, you know, like a black and gray, but I don't need like this much. Yeah, I like this palette, but I don't know. I love it, and I like it enough, and the shimmer's enough that I'm gonna keep it though. And I spent a lot of money on it. I have the Be Perfect. The mattes in here are good. I have the Be Perfect Carnival Love Tahiti that came from Andy Does Stuff, and I love this palette for these warm tone shades. The reds and the oranges are phenomenal. I do have a little pan here. I love these greens. I love this palette a lot. I will say that this isn't their best formula, especially with their mattes. It's not their best, but it's still really good, and I love it. Mostly this side versus I don't wear a lot of pinky colors, but I do wear purple. But I really, really do love this palette. So I have the Blend Bunny Grunge palette, Sugar and Grunge. It looks like this. I bought it right before it went on sale. I was kind of sad about that. Um, but I do really love this palette. You know, at first I was like, meh, but then I started like using it, and I had this in like a hit pan in it, and I didn't hit pan in it. It's very indented though. And I use that shade with all of these colors. Like I paired it with all of it, and I had a lot of fun. And then my mind started getting out of like using the rose, and I really just started getting creative with this palette, and I loved it. And that helped so much, picking one shade and then just trying to hit pan in it and just like pairing it with this whole palette. I was like, wow, okay, so everything does go together and I don't have to go down the line, and it just helped my creative mind work a little bit. But I really did enjoy that palette. I have the Sickly Sweet by Blend Bunny, and I'm not a huge pastel fan, but I do enjoy this palette. I've used the majority of the shades in this palette, not all though. Um, I really like the shimmer. I really love this glow stick shade. I almost hit pan in it. It was like one shade I was working on trying to hit pan in, but never did. I got close though. It's just, I love the darker shades in here. Um, I love that it's kind of more of a chaotic color story. I I wish that these like pastels were a little bit more like brighter oranges instead of like a dingy orange, but it's a good palette. I have the Blend Bunny Primal, and this came from Andy Does Stuff, I believe. I love this palette. I've almost hit pan in this. I've hit pan in that. I've used this a lot. I love these shadows. I love these colors. I love these tones. The only thing I don't love are these. I mean, I do like white and I do like a black, but I did not need that much black and that much white. But I love this palette. I have the Surge that I received in a Busy Beauty box, and I love this palette. I especially love this shade. I'm sad that it broke. The neons aren't my favorite. They are a little bit challenging to work with. They're okay. I mean, all neons are hard to work with, but I think that they could have been better. However, I love the rest of this palette. It's really dark and moody with the pops of neon. And I have the Blend Bunny Lure palette, my favorite packaging from them. And it looks like this. The shimmers in this are some of my favorites from Blend Bunny. I do love this color story. It's a stunning palette. Like I said, I still have way too many palettes. But I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it because I really do enjoy the palettes that I have. So I have the Blend Bunny, the BH Cosmetics Lunar New Year. This is the 2021 edit, and it came from Andy Does Stuff, and I love it. Look, it's a fiery dream with some pops of green, and I love that. Love it. It's me. Perfect. Yes. It's old, but I don't care. This came from Andy Does Stuff as well. Nose itches. This is the ColourPop Blush Life. And this is what it looks like. I wanted this palette so bad, never bought it. Then they discontinued it super quickly. I have used this a lot. I enjoy it. But you guys, I think I might get rid of it. I love this color story. I love the packaging. But I do have these colors elsewhere. I do. And as much as I've loved and enjoyed this palette, I think it's time to just kind of say goodbye to it. And that kind of hurts a little bit, especially like this packaging is just amazing. And it came from Andy and all of those feelings. But I will say, I have been using this a lot um, recently, and the formula is just not as good as it once was. I do believe that ColourPop tends to go bad quicker than most brands. So I'm going to put that aside and like think about it and see if I think about that palette or how I feel about it. But I think that's gonna go. Okay, I have the Muse by Cosmic Brushes. It looks like this. I do enjoy this palette. I need to use it more. It's fairly new in my collection, but I do really love greens and I do enjoy this color story. And so I'm gonna use it and get to know it. I bought all three of these at the same time because that's what they had in stock, and also shipping's expensive, so I was like, I want to try this brand, so I might as well just, purchase all that they had available. This is the Serenity, and I think this one might be my favorite. I've hit pan already in it, and I do enjoy like these greens and these teals and these blues. They all just and these purples. I really enjoy this color story and this palette. I have the Fantasy Cosmetica Druid palette that was gifted to me for my birthday from Beauty Beatdown. It looks like this. I have hit pan in it. I love these shimmers, and as I complain about these mattes sometimes, and even complaining about these mattes, I use the out of this palette all the time. And so like I'm like, why am I bitching about it? Because clearly I love it. Um, yeah, I love this color story. I love this palette. We are now getting into my Glam Light collection, which is fairly large. I have the Rick and Morty palette. I don't watch this show, by the way, but I got this from a Busy Beauty Customs box, and it looks like this. Hit pan in it. Almost hit pan in this one too. Although it's more of a squishy type of shimmer. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I love this palette. I love this color story. I love it so much. The only thing that I wish sometimes it had was like a yellow. I know then it would almost be a full rainbow palette. It doesn't have a red in it though, so but sometimes I wish I had a yellow in it. But I love this palette so much. I think it's like one of my favorites from Glam Light. I just got this. I got it off the TikTok shop for $10 and free shipping. So I couldn't resist. It is the Betty Boop palette, and I'm hoping this like helps me not want this one. I'm hoping that this formula is better. I bought Amy one as well, and she really likes the shimmers in it. And I had also bought her the Nightmare on Elm Street one, and she didn't love it, but she really likes the shimmers. So I trust that it's probably better and good. So yeah, I literally just got this. I want to use it and figure out my thoughts and feelings on it. I have the two Scooby-Doo palettes, and I love these, the Roro Raggy and the Creeps and Crawls. They are beautiful and amazing. I love Scooby-Doo. I love these shimmers. I love these colors. These shimmers are on a whole nother level. I wish Glam Light kept all their shimmers like this. But yeah, I love both of these palettes, and I love pairing them. Especially since this one has some lighter tones in it than this one. They're stunning. I also have the Nightmare on Elm Street, what is this one called? Freddy Krueger palette. I want to love it, but I don't. Again, it's like a formula thing for me. I don't know what they did, but it's just not like the same. I don't know if you can even tell, like, but can you see? I think you can see the difference in the shimmer formula just by looking at this compared to that. I need to use it more and figure out if I want to keep it or not. It's just not my favorite. But I have a thing for horror, and so I'm kind of keeping it for that. And it's wrong, I know, but I have the Ghostface Lives, and I like this palette more than I thought. Again, it's a very gray-toned palette, but I love the shimmers in this palette. And yeah, I have the Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake palette. It looks like this. The shimmers aren't that great in this palette, in my opinion. But I do love the murky color story. I need to use it more to just kind of get more thoughts on it. I have used it quite a bit, but you know, quite a bit is like 10 times, and that's really not always enough to develop full feelings for me. I have the Chucky Crazy Love palette from Glamlight. I love this palette. It is rich and dark and deep and moody and sexy and seductive, and I love it a lot. And I have the Glamlight Icy palette that was sent to me from Andy Dusta. I love this palette. I love these red shimmers in here. I love these red colors. I love the pinky colors. It is a good palette. I love red shadows. This is a really long video. I'm sorry, you guys, because I talk a lot. Okay. I have the Give Me a Glow Christmas Morning palette. I love this palette so much. This is a palette that I could wear when it's not Christmas. I could make it not Christmas. I can make it Christmas. I love the shimmers, the Gifts Galore shadow. Love it. I love this palette. What can I say? This brand quickly became one of my favorites, and I kind of wish I had all of their palettes. It's newer to me. So this is the Gourmand Girls Silent Night palette. This is what it looks like. It is a beautiful palette. Yeah, I love their shimmers. This isn't my favorite out of the Gourmand Girl palettes that I have, but I really do enjoy this palette. And I love their shimmers, and I love their mattes. The mattes are like one of my favorites. So I have the Nightshade palette, and it looks like this. I hit pan in one of the shadows. It's a small one, thankfully, because I love this palette so much. I just adore this color story. I adore these shimmers. I love it so much. And I have the Spooked, which I also love the spider webs. I haven't shown you guys. I have spider webs in my armpits. Anyways, I didn't really show you that well, but I love this color story. It is like neutral and colorful and orange and red, and this is a Halloween palette. It screams fall. It makes, okay, here we go. There are certain palettes that make me feel, and this one and this one, but more so this one, it makes me feel. Like I feel the vibes. I feel the Halloween and the candy apples, and just, I love it. Okay. Call Me Weird. And then the Haunted palette. I love this one too. I really do. What can I say? I love it. So, anyways, moving on. I have the Naughty palette from Huda that was sent to me from Jennifer Steps, and it looks like this. This shade like dried out, so I took it out. I actually do like their slippery shades. I don't know. But that one had dried out. I love this palette. It's like a really beautiful, sultry palette, and it's warm toned. And then this one was sent to me from Andy Does Stuff, and this is the Rose Quartz Huda palette. I love this. I love the shimmers in here. They are on another level, and yeah, it's beautiful. I got this one in a Busy Beauties Customs box, and this is the Skid Row palette from Indie Beat Cosmetics. I saw this play. I love this theme so much. The color story is very muted, pretty color story. The formula is very nice. The shimmers are very just basic, but I do like a basic shimmer sometimes, and I do enjoy this palette and color story. The next brand we're going to talk about is the Jolie Beauty. This is the Sorcerer's palette. It looks like this. I like this palette. I do. I love the greens and the purples. But this is hard, but I think I might get rid of this. I just don't find myself reaching for it. I love the theme so much. This Lunar Eclipse shade is really pretty. This one's hard. I think I'm going to put this one aside too. And if I think about it or I keep looking over at it and want to bring it back, I will. But I think that I'm going to put this away and see, because yeah, I already got rid of the Zombified palette by them that I had. I gave it to Amy because she really wanted it, and I had other neons, so I was like, okay. So, but like if you look at the Sirens palette compared to the Sorcerer's palette, the formula is just, it's better. They've gotten better. And I think that you can tell, I can tell the shimmers have gotten better. The formula has gotten better. These purples and greens are sort of over here. I love this palette a lot. I think the shimmers are even better. I don't know. There's something different as their formula has progressed. So I think I'm gonna get rid of it. We'll see. But I love the Sirens palette a lot. I have the Ethereality palette by them as well, and I love. Again, I just feel like the formula and the shimmers are better. Yeah, I love this palette. And I also have the Vampirism. This came from Leanna Dolton, and I absolutely love this palette too. And because of the color story, clearly. I mean, hello. Greens and reds and these like grungy browns. Yeah. And they're not really greens. They're like mustards and like, I mean, dingy. These are dark greens, but they're like poop color. I don't know. They're beautiful. So, yes, we are getting there, you guys. We're on the second shelf. This is the Venus extra small blue opal lime crime palette that I got in a Busy Beauty Customs box. It's fairly new to me and I have used it and I love this palette. I don't know, it's so simple and that green doesn't look like it fits, but it does. And I've enjoyed the looks that I've created with it and I love the packaging. So I have the Melt Amore Mariposis palette. I love it. I actually don't love the greens, but I love these two rows right here is where it's at for me. I have this, which is fairly new. I got it on sale. I really want the Christmas one. I think the Christmas one is actually a better color story, but I love Oogie so much. This is the Halloween Town, and this is what it looks like. I enjoy this palette. I've used it a couple of times. Not enough, though, to really give you a huge review on it. Like I said, it's fairly new. It was on sale. And yeah, I kind of really want the Christmas one, but I don't need it, you guys. I don't. I want it. I have the rusted, is it rust or rusted? It's rust from Melt. This one is also fairly new. It was on sale. I kind of bought this, which the back is so awesome. This one and the 27 and this around the same time because they were on sale on the Sephora website. I like this palette a lot. I think that they do these colors so well, and I can't believe it, you guys, but I have started enjoying neutral color looks more. I'm getting older, maybe, I don't know, but I've been enjoying more of a neutral-ish kind of look. I mean, my looks are not super neutral, but more neutral. Okay, this is the 420, and I love this palette. People hate it. The shimmer is not my favorite, but I flipping love this. I wish it could show you like how much I've used it, but I've used the crap out of it, and not so much these greens, but everything over here I've just adored so much. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I have the Melt Gemini 2. The packaging is stunning. I enjoy this one. I have the Gemini. Again, love the color story. Their shimmers are very basic. Sometimes I like basic. Sometimes I like to pair that with more special shimmers. This one, which I got way late in the game. Andy does stuff like surprised me with this one. It just showed up on my porch and I was like, what? Yes. The Morte from Melt. It's so beautiful and so rich. And it's got these reds and these blues and it's a beautiful palette. I can't believe that she had bought that for me. I have the Fatally Yours. I've only used this like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. I need to use it more. But it's more of a like a fall winter-ish. So I know that I'm going to pull it out when that season comes, even though I don't agree with like going with the season, but sometimes like during certain weather, like your mind and your feelings and stuff just kind of gravitate towards this different kinds of color stories. When I did use it, I did enjoy it. It is very dark, very grungy, and yeah. I have the Melt Pinks, or the Melt Millennial Pinks. It looks like this. I really do enjoy this palette. I love mixing these grays with the pinks. I think it is a stunning combination, and that palette is so dirty and I can't get it clean. I have the Smoke Sessions 2 from Melt. Of course, it's newer. And I'm going to tell you something, you guys. I love Melt. And people complain about Melt formulas a lot. And I haven't experienced that, but I did with this. The mattes in it are beautiful, but they take so much time and effort to like blend. And I generally have to pull out another palette with a light purple or a white to blend them. They are just they don't want to blend. Okay, they don't. However, these are some of the best shimmers Melt has ever done, in my opinion. Oh, it just fell out. It's because I was talking shit. Oh, that makes me so mad. And sad. Well, I'll have to wait until it's on sale, I guess, to buy one. It's new. It's not that old. And the shimmers are what I loved about this palette. I'm so fucking sad. Because it's expensive. It's not cheap. So that just happened. And yeah. Well, I can't change it. So it didn't even look like it was gonna fall out. Like it wasn't loose or like it just, because there's sometimes when you look at a palette, you can kind of tell that like, okay, yeah, all right. Anyways, the mattes are not my favorite, but the shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. And I'm sad that happened. Wow. Okay, I have She's in Parties, and it looks like this. I love this palette. It is beautiful. And I have the Smoke Sessions, which I got in a Busy Beauty Customs box, and I love this palette. Again, these shimmers are really good too. So I have this Morphe Going Platinum palette. I got this in a Busy Beauty Customs box like just recently, and I used this palette and I love it. It's like this pinky silvery dream, pinky brown chocolate silver dream. And the shimmers in here are stunning. The mattes are not my favorite. They're workable. They're not challenging. They're just not, they're buildable. Okay, they're not my favorite, but I love this palette. I was absolutely stunned. I also got this with that palette in a Busy Customs box, Busy Beauty Customs box just recently. And this is the Naked palette, the Metal Media. The names in this palette crack me up. I use this several times and I love it. The mattes in here are so good and these shimmers are stunning. And I've never used Urban Decay before. All I hear about is people bitching about Urban Decay, and I absolutely loved it. And I love the color story. I can go dark, I can go grungy, I can go neutral. I love this. And the packaging too. I have the Natasha Denona Retro Glam. I also got this in a Busy Beauty Customs box. I enjoy this. I wish this shimmer here, the Jazzy, was a dark matte instead of a dark shimmer. I think that is my biggest complaint about this palette, but I do enjoy it. So I would like to get more use out of it to figure it out. I have the Odensai Hella palette. This came in the Busy Beauty box, or not the Busy Beauty box. This came in the mystery box that I got sent from Beauty Beatdown. And it looks like this. I've used it several times. I enjoy the color story and I want to get more use out of it. Of course, like I said, it's fairly new. I have the Odenai Norns palette. It is an older palette in my collection. I don't like the mattes in here. I only like the shimmers, particularly the pink chameleon shimmer. However, I think that I have that shimmer or something close enough in my collection that I don't think I want to keep this palette anymore. I mean, I've used it, but I don't reach for it enough. I love the packaging, but I just wasn't impressed with that formula. So I think I'm going to get rid of that one. I have the Hey Reindeer palette that also came in that mystery box. I've used it several times. I really love this shade right here. I want to use it more. And I've used this orange shade, which I also really enjoy, and that yellow up here. I do want to use it more though. I've paired it. I haven't used it alone. So, and this is a new palette in my collection that I got in the P. Louise budget box. And this is the Babe, We're Bringing the Smoke Back. These two are too similar in my opinion. Rest in peace, Melt. But this shimmer looks really pretty and I would like to use it and develop thoughts on it. I've only swatched it. We're getting there, guys, I promise. So this is the P. Louise If Looks Could Chill palette. It's missing the top inside because it just kept falling out and I didn't want to deal with like gluing it back or anything. And I'm still thinking about my Melt palette, sorry. I got this in a Busy Beauty Customs box and it is all of the blues and mint shades you could ever need. It is very beautiful and very stunning. Sort of new. It's like 2 months old in my collection, so I can't wait to use it more. So I know this is like a controversial brand. She accidentally sent me a package for somebody else and I, contacted her and dealt with that, and she was so kind to send me palettes. And I have really enjoyed the shimmers and some of the color stories. So let's get into it. She's been nothing but kind to me. This is a Fairy Tale St. Angel Sinners. And it looks like this. I've hit pan in that green shadow. I love the shimmers. And this is a really pretty palette. I have the Gift, and there is mostly shimmers in this palette. There's only 4 mattes, but the 4 mattes in here, like you have your light and deepening, and the greens and purples are beautiful together, and I do enjoy the formula. Their mattes are not my favorite. They're buildable. They're not bad. They're just not my favorite. But I love the shimmers. So my nails look really dirty right now, you guys, because there's like makeup stuck in them. Anyways, this Kazy palette is one of my favorites. I've hit pan in 2 of the shades. This one is gonna go. I'm gonna use that whole shade. Like, I love it so much. I love this color story. I love these shimmers. This palette is gold. Same with the Zando palette. It looks like this. I've hit pan in this shadow. At first, when I looked at this color story, I was like, yeah. But then I used it and I used it again and I used it again. I was like, I love this color story. There's just something about it. I love it. So I have two Shroud palettes. This is the It's Freaking Bats. It looks like this. I've hit pan in it. I'm close to hitting pan in that purple. I have mixed feelings about this formula, but I love this color story. At first, I really hated this formula, but I figured out how to make it work. So, you know, I like this formula a little bit more. This is the Hallow Bean, and it looks like this. I don't love this color story as much, but I love the shimmers in this palette. This shifts so green, like I'm seeing green, you're seeing purple. It's a very stunning shadow, and I love this Goulish shade. So it is a beautiful palette. So I bought a bunch of Shewell palettes. This is the Wolfa. I love their shimmers. Their mattes are really good too. I have nothing bad to say. These are fairly new in my collection. I've used them all, but I need to use them even more. This is the Deathless Spirit. Again, the shimmers are just amazing. For me, I can make a standalone look with each palette, but I prefer to mix and match these because there's not enough mattes for me. This is the Liana, I don't know, one. Again, these shimmers are so beautiful. But there's only one matte. You see what I mean? Like I prefer, you know, more mattes. So I like to mix and match, and I'm totally okay with that. This is the Dreamscape. And it's just stunning. It's stunning, you guys. I love them. This is the Circus, and it looks like that. And I will tell you, they come packaged so beautifully wrapped. It's like gift wrapped. It's a whole nother experience. I have the Unearthly Resurgence palette. Looks like this. I love this palette. This did hit like super hard pan, but I can still get the shadow to work. It is a beautiful palette. So yeah, but you can see that hard pan. And I have the Unearthly Dead of Fright palette. This came from Busy Beauty Customs, and it's stunning. The greens and the teals and the blues and purples. It is a beautiful palette. I love it. All we have are my singles that I will quickly show you. I love this packaging. Here are all of my shimmers, my special ones, my really expensive ones. Some of these came from Indie Does Stuff. Some of the Divina, these are the Cleona ones that I have. And then these are Onsai. I have a bunch of Luxie shadows. Apparently, there's some sketchy things happening. Their website is down. Some people haven't gotten their orders. That's really sad because they're affordable and I enjoy their formula. This is Give Me Glow Shadows. These are more Luxie. I believe this is more Luxie. Yep. They have a really good, some of their shadows are meh, but most of them are pretty good. More Luxie. I hope that they make it right with their customers and they come back. And these are Sydney Grace that Andy Dust Stuff sent me, and then one of the Lunar Beauty shadows. So that is it, you guys. We did it. We went through all of my palettes, and we had one really fucking sad casualty that I'm still processing. I'm gonna buy a new one. I think so. Yeah. Anyways, that is my collection. What do you think? I know I have way too many, but I have been working on, you know, not buying as much and only keeping what I love and using my palettes because that's what I want to do. I don't want to have a bunch of palettes that I'm not using. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I only have 2 eyes, so I can't use all of these palettes as is. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just gonna go. Thanks for joining me on my palette adventure, and rip to my melt palette shimmer. Bye.